After Indiana basketball has won 2 games in a row, we have to ask the question, is this team built to make a run?
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. So glad that this is a part of your daily rotation. And if it's not, please make it so. I think you're really going to enjoy it. And we for love for you to become a part of the family. Today's episode is brought to you by Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Take the Nissan Rogue, the Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Check them all out today at NissanUSA.com. It's Indiana basketball, and this Mike Woodson coach team, are they built to make a run in March? They've won 2 games in a row. I think they have a good chance to do again coming up tomorrow on the road. Are they built to make a run in March? This is the most important month of the season, and I think we have to start asking ourselves that. Going over that today, plus Coach Woodson's comments on his weekly radio show, and taking a look at the Big Ten tournament for the women. Yes, it is that time. The Big Ten tournament will be going on this week. So excited for that. So that's what's coming up on the show today. Is Indiana built to make a run? Well, I think there are some things that would tell us yes, and there are some things that would tell us no. I think the things that would tell us yes are what we've seen in the past couple of games. We've seen higher level shooting. I'm not going to say it's great, but we've seen more effective shooting. We have seen a lot better rebounding. I think we've seen a lot better half-court offense, which is really nice to see. Just think about all the times we saw this team stall out on offense, and they would go 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes without scoring the basketball in some of these games in the Big Ten. I mean, it was brutal to watch, but that hasn't happened as of late and as much. And I think that's really, really important. I think that is something that this team is finally getting, whether it's something that Woodson has changed up in practice, because I think some of the sets have been different, and I think some of the ball handling has been different. I think some of the rotations have been different. So whether he's just now changing that or whether they're just now getting it, I don't know. I don't know what the case is, but they're finally getting it regardless. I don't care how it's happened. I'm just glad it finally did. So those things are happening for this team, and when you score, you've got a chance to win. Crazy, right? Crazy how that works. You score 83 points on the road in the Big Ten. That's good enough to win most games. So they're doing things well offensively, I think, for the most part, and they're also playing a higher level defense. I know they gave up 78 points to that Maryland team, but that's a Maryland team that shot the lights out in the first half. And then we played a lot better second half. We talked about that on the show yesterday about how they played so much better defense, our Hoosiers did. And that's really impressive. Not something we've seen this year. And you look back, they gave up only 70 to that Wisconsin team. But before that, it was 83 to Penn State. It was 85 to Nebraska. So they flipped the switch just like that. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I'm hoping that it's here to stay. And on top of all of that, you're getting high-level effort from this team. You're getting heart, you're getting passion from this team, from the head coach, from the fans. You're getting it all. And guess what? All of those things, I think, are what builds a team and gets them ready to make a run in March. I really, really do. Now, you cannot ignore what this team has done over the longevity of the season. They have not shot the ball well. We have not rebounded well. We have not run good offense well. And typically we haven't defended well, especially from behind the arc. And that's how teams go on runs. That's how teams make a big splash in the Big Ten tournament and then ultimately in the NCAA tournament, which I'm not saying we're getting to the NCAA tournament, but I'm saying I would like to give ourselves a chance. I'd like to say that there's a slim possibility if we somehow get hot and go on a run, right? So you cannot ignore the fact that we do not shoot the three ball well. We're one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the country. And we're also one of the worst defensive three-pointer teams in the country because teams just light it up against us. We've adjusted that, and I think we've gotten better. But you can look at the last two games, but you can't just look at the last two games. You can't throw the rest of the season away and say, oh, doesn't matter. Look what we've done. Look what we did against Wisconsin and Maryland. We're going to make a run. You can't do that. That's not fair. That's not legit. That's not smart. So you have to look at what this team has done the whole season. But if they can turn the corner here and begin playing more like we've seen the last two games, yeah, absolutely, this team can go on a run. I think they can beat Minnesota. I think they can beat Michigan State. And I think they can win a couple of games and surprise some people in the Big Ten tournament. Again, they're not making the big dance unless they absolutely win it all. And right now, we're trying to avoid playing on opening nights of the Big Ten tournament, which you do not want to do. I don't know the last time somebody played on opening night and then won the Big Ten tournament or any major conference tournament. It just doesn't happen very often. But we're trying to avoid that, and I think we're doing a good job at doing so. You've just got to find a way to not be in that bottom four. So if we continue playing like we have been the last two games, you better believe it. I think we can go on a run. But my worry is that we begin slipping back into those old trends, those old tendencies, those old habits, if you will. That's my fear, is that we begin slipping back into that. Maybe we do and maybe we don't. But I just feel like that's what's going to happen here. And until I'm proven wrong, yeah, I think I'm going to be worried about it. And to be honest, I think you and a lot of Indiana fans are as well. Well, coming up on Locked On Hoosiers, we'll take a look at what head coach Mike Woodson had to say. His weekly radio show talking about the game over the weekend, previewing the final week of the regular season. Crazy to say that, right? We'll look at that coming up in just a second on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Yes, that's $150 if your bet wins. All those NBA games going on right now, college basketball. Look, sign up on FanDuel. Find you a lock, find you a gimme, put $5 on it, and when you win, they're going to give you $150 just like that for signing up with FanDuel. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and more. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Back here at Locked On Hoosiers, appreciate you being here, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. If you have yet to like the video on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. Folks, we are growing. We keep pushing towards 1,900 subscribers. So if you're not one of those, all you got to do is click it. It's free. It's easy. And all it does is help you become a part of the community, tell you when we have new episodes so you don't miss any of those. Also, shout out to our audio listeners as well. I appreciate you being here and having this a part of your daily rotation. Let's take a look at what Mike Woodson had to say in his weekly radio show. Talked about the game over the weekend, previewing kind of what's coming up with the Minnesota game, and then the final home game of the regular season against Michigan State this weekend. He was asked about the 2-game winning streak, and let me say this. This is just a personal thing for me. I think I said this on the show yesterday. 2 games to me is not a winning streak. I call that back-to-back games. 3 games is a streak to me because you've won back-to-back. Then you go on the streak. I don't know. But we can't complain. We can't be picky. Beggars can't be choosers here right now. But I don't know. Just something that I kind of feel like. He says, we're playing a lot better, and having X back has made a difference in terms of our speed on the floor. And yes, he's right. And you want to talk about what makes a team liable to go on a run in March is having good guard play. And if Trey Galloway continues playing the way he's playing, which is some of his best basketball, and if Xavier Johnson can step up and keep playing well, then yeah, Indiana can upset some people in the Big Ten tournament. You better believe it. He says, I think the last two games, I thought everybody's pitched in. You go back to the Wisconsin game, Gallo kind of orchestrated with 12 assists, but Ware was won the end of it with 27 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 blocks. I mean, he was unbelievable. He says we're going to need that the rest of the way in terms of everybody pitching in and doing their part, which is spot on. I mean, look, this team can't beat anybody if it's just a one-man band. If they're a one-man show, they're going to lose. I mean, we cannot rely on Kel'el Ware every single night to have 27 and 12. That's ridiculous. It's insane. You can't rely on Malik Reneau to just have an insane game or Galloway to go off for 30 points like he did against Kansas. Like, we cannot rely on that every single night. It has to be numerous guys. I think 3 or 4 starters have to be in double digits. I really do. And then you have to have somebody coming off the bench that can give you significant minutes and double-digit points. Whether that's Xavier Johnson or not, I don't know, but you've got to have that guy somewhere. He said it's been a total team effort, and you know, it talks about the defense and stuff like that. Talking about X and his return from injury, he said he's always been a big piece to the puzzle, and not having him for over half of the season was tough. He says you put a young freshman in, kind of throw him out to the Wolves and Gabe Cups, and Gabe has handled his own. I mean, he's been good for us, but we didn't come into this season thinking that, and he's learned on the job, and it's something he'll benefit from down the road. He said X's speed changes the game in terms of how we want to play. And he can score a little bit for us, so it's not like he's one-dimensional. He can defend and score, so that helps. And you can see this happening when Xavier Johnson gets in the game. You can see this happening when he gets the basketball in his hands. He goes. He's looking up. He's ready to play. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go. I think that's where Indiana plays their best basketball. I've told you that all season long. I think we play our best when we're on the run, when we don't set up in a half-court offense, when we don't play 5-on-5 basketball, because most teams know how to defend us. We've got one way to score. We're a one-dimensional squad, so let's not give them a chance to stop it. I think when X or Galloway, he's done that a lot too this year. I think when you start looking at those guys and just notice what they do when they watch tomorrow night when they get the ball. If you haven't noticed this, they surge ahead unless Woodson tells them not to, or they're kind of slowing down to reset. But most of the time, they push the basketball. They grab it and they go, and they're looking to get that transition bucket. They're looking to get the outlet pass and get the offense started. And that's what this team has to do. And X brings that for you 100%. About the performance against Maryland with X and Galloway, he says, I thought they controlled the game nicely. I just hope that they can validate that as we head to Minnesota, meaning I hope they can back it up. I hope they can continue playing that way. That's what he means. That's exactly what he means. And I think we're all saying the same thing, not just about those guys, but about this entire team. That's how we can make a run. That's how we can win games. That's how we can get on a winning streak. Back it up. Show that it's not a fluke. Show that this season maybe hasn't gone the way you wanted it to, or that the way that we planned it. But let's show what we can do at the end of this year and have a little positivity in the offseason and for what could happen next year. That's what he's pressuring his team to do. He's doing that in the media. I hope Mike Woodson's doing that in the locker room too. I hope he's doing that in practice, saying, look, this season sucked. Let's be honest. It was not good. Did we get dealt a fair hand? No, not necessarily, but we also didn't handle it the best way either. But now we've got a chance. We've got a chance to kind of prove and show that the season wasn't what it was supposed to be. So I hope he's challenging them on the back end too. He talked about the confidence of the team. He says winning helps. When we went through that 4-game losing streak, it was tough. It's tough on everybody. He says, I thought the last 2 games, we've put ourselves in a nice position to win games. He says, IU stunk in the first half against Maryland, but responded well out of the halftime. And he says we've given away 3, 4, 5 games this season because we're lacking free throws. And how many times have we seen that this year? This team, I don't know why. They're just not good at free throws, man. It's actually kind of baffling when you look at it. As a team, here's what they're shooting from the free throw line. They are shooting, oh, this is terrible, 66% as a team. That's not good. Yeah, you've given games away because you have nobody on this team that's a reliable three-point or a free throw shooter outside of Mackenzie Mgbako. He's the only one above 80%, and it's 81. And then nobody else is even close. The highest one after that is 73 from Anthony Walker. That's not okay. That's not acceptable, man. That's not acceptable. You're all college basketball players. You are playing, at this point, semi-pro basketball. Make your free throws. Practice your free throws. They are free, right? Sounds like a boomer. They're free throws. You cannot shoot 66% as a team and expect to win games in March. You want to talk about why we may not go on a run? Is because we can't make free throws. And teams are going to realize, just foul them. Going up for a shot, fouling. Coming across half court, fouling. Up by 3 late, fouling. Indiana can't beat them. We can't beat them from the line. And that's a big, big problem. Because there hasn't been, I should say. I'm not going to say there's not. There hasn't been that clutch gene. There hasn't been that dog alpha mentality of, yeah, foul me. Foul me. Let's go. Let me step up to the free throw line and show you why that was a mistake. And your problem is your guards in Galloway and Johnson are terrible free throw shooters. Baffles me, man. Absolutely blows my mind. I think guards should be 80 to 85% consistently, 85 to 90, really. You're a guard. That's what you do. I think guards should be in that 80 to 90 range. I think your small forward, power forward should be in that 70 to 80 range, and then your centers should be no less than 65%. And this team's atrocious. One of the worst I've ever seen. Actually, when you just start breaking it down and looking at each individual, I mean, it's baffling to me that we're so bad at shooting free throws. And I've known it. I guess I haven't fully sat down to look at all of the numbers, and it's pretty scary. I recommend that you go do it. And we've got to figure that out. That has to change if you want to win games in this month of the year. Free throw shooting, three-point shooting, defense, all of that, things that Mike Woodson says he's impressed with. Not the free throws, but things that he is noticing that he was talking about on his radio show. But I think the positivity's back. I really do. I think the positivity's there. And you heard him say it. Winning is fun. Winning helps. Winning helps your mentality. Winning helps your positivity. Winning helps your outlook on the game and on life. And this team is finally doing that. They've got a chance tomorrow night to get 3 in a row, their first time in conference play. We'll have a full episode going up for you tomorrow about that. Well, coming up on Locked On Hoosiers, the Indiana women will be competing in the Big Ten tournament. We'll take a look at that tournament, what the Hoosiers have to do to get to the championship game, and then kind of looking at some more March Madness things with the NCAA tournament around the corner for them as well. All that coming up in the final segment on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. The 2024 Nissan Rogue is perfect for city drives and great escapes. Class-exclusive Google built-in is your always updating assistant to call on for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect mid-size crossover for your next adventure. Look, my aunt drives a Rogue. She loves it. And I'm not just saying that. She does. She absolutely, I think hers maybe a 2022, 23, something like that. She just got it. Loves her Nissan Rogue and drives that thing everywhere. Takes it on trips, drives it to work and back. She absolutely loves it. The 2024 Nissan Armada will change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that can seat up to 8 in first-class luxury and style. Tow bigger and explore further in the 2024 Nissan Armada. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. And we appreciate you being here. If you're on YouTube or you're on audio, make sure you turn on notifications wherever you get your podcasts. That way you can never miss an episode when we post one. And as we get the Big Ten tournament bracket for the women pulled up, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a tournament that is really, really exciting. I think you have just a lot of potential here for maybe a couple of upsets. I think we have a pretty good idea on who is going to be near the end, right? And that's okay. That happens from time to time. But this is what it's going to look like for the women. You have Ohio State is your Big Ten champion, right? They're going to be up there at the top. But I think they're beatable. And Iowa showed that in the regular season finale, and teams have beaten them before. But you have Ohio State as your 1, you have Iowa as your 2, Indiana is the 3, and Michigan State is the 4. So we as the women got the top 4 seed, we got the double bye, and now we don't have to worry about it, which is really good. You don't have to play until Friday of the Big Ten tournament. Northwestern and Purdue will play in the first game. That'll be on Wednesday. Then Rutgers and Minnesota will play in the second game on Wednesday evening. And then on Thursday, starting top to bottom, the 9 and 8 game, Illinois, the 9 seed, playing Maryland, the 8 seed. Nebraska, the 5 seed, will await the winner of Northwestern and Purdue. You have Wisconsin as the 10 seed. They will play Penn State as the 7 seed, and then Michigan as the 6. They will await the winner of Rutgers and Wisconsin. You then start going 1 through 4. Ohio State will get the winner of Illinois and Maryland. Michigan State will get the winner of Nebraska and either Northwestern or Purdue. Iowa as that 2 seed. They'll get the winner of Wisconsin and Penn State. And Indiana as the 3 seed. We will await the winner of Michigan and either Rutgers or Minnesota. Honestly, I think any of those games are fine. I think any of them are going to be okay for us. And I don't think it's something that we are overly stressing when it comes to this Indiana women's team, because you look at what we've done in conference play. We beat Rutgers way back when in the middle of non-conference play at Rutgers 66-56. We beat Michigan 80-59. So I don't think it's anything crazy to stress about. We beat Minnesota 85-62. So look, I just don't think there's a whole lot of, when it comes to women's basketball, it's getting a lot better. I'll say this on the forefront. It's getting better, but the separation from the greats and everybody else has been a massive gap for a long, long time. And I just don't think anybody else in this tournament has a chance outside of us, Iowa, and Ohio State. I just don't think anybody does. I think most of this on the back end could get kind of crazy. But once it gets to Friday, I think it's basically going to go chalk. And then Indiana, luckily, you get a chance at Iowa. And yeah, I said luckily. I want to play Iowa again because I want to prove that it wasn't a fluke that we beat them the second time. I want to play Caitlin Clark again because she's an exciting player, man. She's so much fun to watch. But I think Indiana runs a style of defense and a style of play that wears her down and can beat her on a consistent basis. And so if that's the case, we would play Iowa if they win, which they probably will. They'll beat either Wisconsin or Penn State. Not worried about that. We would play them on Saturday in the semifinals and then ultimately probably play Ohio State for the championship game. We play on Friday. Let me see if I can get a time on this. It is supposed to be 25 minutes after the second game on Friday, which is Iowa and whoever of Wisconsin and Penn State. That says at 5:30 Central Time, I believe. And so it'll be 25 minutes after that. So I'm thinking probably 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern, maybe for the Indiana women on let's see, on Friday. Yeah, it looks like about 8 o'clock is what they're scheduling that game for. So excited for that. We're going to cover that here on the show. Excited to follow this team. It's March, man. We've got postseason play. This is what it's all about. Exciting times in college basketball, following the women down the home stretch. Women in the postseason, the men coming down the home stretch of the regular season. So we will cover all of that for you here on Locked On Hoosiers. I appreciate you being here, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. Again, if you're not subscribed, help us do that. Hit the button. It's free. It's easy. And you become a part of our wonderful family. We will have an episode tomorrow talking about how the Indiana men can go on a 3-game winning streak, and I think they can do it. That'll be coming up on the show tomorrow. So until then, Hoosier fans, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.